Take this! Uh-oh. Take it! Dodge this! How's that? How's that? Take it! Away you go! How's that? I got this one.
a death wish. Be gone! Be gone! Try this on the side. Just disappear. Try this side also. Be gone. What just happened? Stupid ape.
Bye.